When you switch off the light tonight, nothing inside the room actually changes. The walls remain exactly where they were. The furniture hasn't moved. The air is the same air you've been breathing all day. And yet within seconds, your heart may begin to beat just a little faster. Your ears suddenly seem sharper. Every tiny creak demands your attention. A coat hanging by the door becomes someone standing perfectly still. A harmless shadow stretches into something alive. You know the darkness itself cannot hurt you. It is only the absence of light. So why does your brain keep acting as though an invisible danger has just entered the room? That question has haunted humanity for far longer than civilization itself. Before there were cities, before roads, before language had fully taken shape, darkness was not simply the end of the day. It was the beginning of uncertainty. Imagine standing on an African savanna nearly 300,000 years ago. The sun slips beneath the horizon, and within minutes the familiar world dissolves. Landmarks disappear. Faces vanish. Every sound becomes louder because your eyes can no longer explain it. Somewhere beyond the fading glow of your fire, something moves through the grass. You cannot see it, but it might already see you. That single possibility shaped generations. The strange part is that your brain still behaves as though that ancient night has never ended. Scientists have discovered that humans rely on vision more than almost any other sense. Nearly a third of the human brain is involved in processing visual information. During daylight, your eyes constantly reassure your mind that everything is under control. They identify familiar objects before fear has a chance to grow. But the moment light disappears, that stream of information collapses. Your brain is forced to make decisions with missing pieces. And when survival is involved, missing information has always been treated as potential danger. This creates one of evolution's most fascinating tricks. Your brain does not wait for proof that something is there. It prepares for the possibility that something could be there. That difference changes everything. Imagine hearing a branch snap somewhere behind you in complete darkness. There are two possible mistakes your brain can make. It can assume nothing is there and be wrong, or it can assume danger is present and later discover it was only the wind. Across thousands of generations, the second mistake kept more people alive. Fear became cheaper than certainty. And this is where the story becomes even stranger. Darkness itself is not frightening. It is your imagination that transforms it. Modern brain scans reveal that when visual information decreases, regions involved in prediction and emotional processing become far more active. The human brain hates unanswered questions. It constantly builds models of reality, filling empty spaces with educated guesses. In daylight, those guesses are corrected almost instantly by your eyes. In darkness, they are not. The result is a world where ordinary objects become extraordinary threats. A chair becomes a crouching figure. Curtains appear to breathe with the wind. Shadows merge into faces that disappear the moment you look directly at them. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is doing exactly what millions of years of evolution designed it to do, imagining the worst before reality has the chance to surprise you. But that still doesn't explain why the fear can feel so overwhelming. The answer lies deep inside your brain, in a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. It acts like an emergency alarm system, scanning every sound, movement, and sensation for signs of danger. Long before your conscious mind has time to think, the amygdala can trigger your heartbeat to accelerate, your breathing to change, and your muscles to tense. By the time logic arrives, your body has already decided that something may be wrong. In other words, fear often happens before thought. That explains why even adults who know there are no monsters under the bed can still hesitate before reaching 1 foot toward the floor in a completely dark room. But perhaps the most surprising discovery comes from children. Researchers have found that fear of darkness is remarkably common during early childhood across cultures around the world. At first glance, this seems obvious. Children have vivid imaginations, yet psychologists believe something deeper is happening. Young brains are still learning to separate imagination from reality. Without enough experience to confidently predict what exists in darkness, uncertainty expands dramatically. Every unknown possibility feels equally real. Then something curious happens. Most people eventually outgrow their fear of the dark. Or at least they believe they do. Adults rarely admit to being afraid of darkness itself. Instead, they avoid dark streets, hesitate before entering abandoned buildings, or feel strangely uncomfortable walking through an empty house after midnight. The fear changes its disguise. It no longer says, "I'm scared of the dark." It whispers, "What if someone is hiding there?" The object of fear changes. The mechanism never leaves. This pattern appears throughout human history. Nearly every civilization filled the darkness with stories. Ancient forests became homes to spirits. Mountains hid mysterious creatures. Oceans concealed monsters beneath black water. Across continents separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, people invented remarkably similar legends about what waited beyond the reach of firelight. Were they all describing real creatures? Probably not. They were describing the same human brain. Darkness became the perfect canvas onto which every culture projected its greatest fears. Invisible predators became demons. Strange sounds became ghosts. Unknown illnesses became curses. Whenever knowledge ended, imagination quietly took over. And yet there is another twist. Complete darkness is almost impossible for modern humans to experience. Today our cities glow through the night. Satellites reveal continents illuminated from space like enormous constellations built by civilization itself. Streetlights erase shadows that terrified countless generations before us. A child born today may never know what true natural darkness actually looks like. But remove those lights, and something remarkable happens. Astronauts describe space as profoundly unsettling. Away from Earth's atmosphere, darkness is not merely the absence of sunlight. It is endless, absolute, infinite. The stars appear sharp enough to touch, yet between them stretches a blackness so complete that it almost feels alive. Polar explorers crossing vast frozen landscapes have reported similar sensations during months of darkness, where familiar ideas of distance and direction slowly begin to dissolve. The scale changes, but the feeling remains. Whether standing alone in a forest or floating hundreds of kilometers above Earth, the human mind still wrestles with the same ancient uncertainty. And uncertainty is something our brains never learn to love. Psychologists have repeatedly found that people often fear uncertainty more than pain itself. When volunteers know exactly when an unpleasant event will occur, their stress levels remain lower than when the timing is unpredictable. The unknown demands constant vigilance. Darkness is uncertainty made visible, or perhaps more accurately, made invisible. That may explain why horror films rarely show the monster immediately. Directors understand something neuroscience confirms. What you cannot see is often far more frightening than what you can. The imagination almost always creates something worse than reality. The monster hiding in darkness is different for every person because your own mind designs it. But here's the greatest irony of all. The same darkness that once protected predators also made humanity look upward. When the fires burned low and the night stretched across prehistoric skies untouched by city lights, our ancestors saw something we rarely notice today. Thousands upon thousands of stars. The glowing band of the Milky Way crossing the heavens, meteors flashing silently overhead. Questions began to emerge. What are those lights? Why do they move? What lies beyond them? The darkness that inspired fear also inspired curiosity. Without long nights, astronomy might never have been born. Navigation across oceans might never have developed. Entire civilizations measured time, seasons, and harvests by observing the sky that only darkness could reveal. The same night that concealed predators also revealed the universe. Fear and discovery shared the very same stage. Perhaps that is the deepest truth about why humans fear the dark. It was never simply about what darkness contained. It was about everything we could not know. Evolution taught us to survive uncertainty. Science taught us to investigate it. Civilization learned to illuminate it. Yet no matter how many lights we build, there will always be places where certainty ends and imagination begins. And tonight, when you turn off the light, your room will not change at all. The walls will stay where they are. The furniture will remain perfectly still. The darkness will bring nothing with it. But somewhere inside your mind, an ancient survivor will quietly awaken, listening for sounds that no longer matter, searching for dangers that may never come, carrying memories written not in your own lifetime, but across hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. The strangest part is that this ancient fear is not evidence of weakness. It is proof that you inherited a brain shaped by countless generations who survived long enough to pass it on. Every cautious heartbeat in the dark is an echo from people who once stood beneath unfamiliar stars, with nothing but a small fire between themselves and the unknown. And perhaps that is why, even in a world flooded with electric light, humanity has never truly stopped fearing the dark, because the greatest mystery was never hidden in the shadows around us. It has always been hidden inside the mind that looks into them.